Hey Facebook, how's it going everyone? It's Erin, obviously. I'm planning to repost this video on YouTube, so also hello to any future YouTube viewers that might be watching this as well. If you hear me talking to people that are commenting, that's why. This was an original Facebook Live. So back to Facebook. Hi. Hey, Charlotte, Denise. So hey guys, I have been wanting to do this video for a while and I finally had a good opportunity. I was just sitting down to throw a face on and, wanted to share with you guys kind of what I have learned about using Limelight's foundation with oily skin, and some troubleshooting tips. So I've had a few people, come in, but the one that's most notable, was my cousin Kara. My cousin Kara, just told me she ordered the foundation and she was like, I'm just not loving it. Like, I like it, but I don't know, like there's something with it that's not quite working for me. So I told her to come in. I said, let me see if I can watch you put it on. Maybe I'll be able to pinpoint what's going on. So I asked her to come in so we could troubleshoot. Maybe I could see something she was doing wrong. But I also said, look, like there's a few other foundation formulas I like that I like previously used. So I'll bring those with me. Maybe you'll like one of those better. Like we'll try all of them. So, I'm actually like gonna put the comments to the side because I feel like they're taking up a large portion of the screen and I can't see what I'm doing. Okay, so she came in and I had like 3 or 4 foundation formulas for her to try. And I saw how she was putting on the foundation and I immediately could tell that part of it was the way she was applying it. So I showed her some tips and tricks. We took pictures, we documented, and then we took it all off and I had her try like 3 other formulas. And she was like, you know what? Like this looks good, but it doesn't look any better than the Limelight. And I'm like, I know. So in the end, she ended up sticking with the Limelight. She was like, I honestly think that in the end, like the Limelight looked better than all of these. And these were like good professional, like if y'all are interested, you can private message me. I'll tell you which formulas we use, but these are like high-end, expensive, very reputable in the pro makeup world formulas that we tried. And she still thought Limelight looked better than all of them, but it all came down to how she was applying it, and some tips and tricks. So I too am oily, even this time of year. It's winter right now. I still get a little oily in my T-zone area, and there's a lot of people like that. So I do my makeup differently in the T-zone. My complexion makeup is different here than it is on the sides of my face. So just like your skincare might be different in your T-zone, you know, kind of this diamond in the middle of your face, you might treat that a little bit differently. Like maybe you don't moisturize that as heavily as the sides of your face. The complexion makeup you do might need to be a little different in that area too, because the skin is different, right? So let me show you guys what I do. All right, are y'all ready for this? Let's look at the comments. Denise, I'm glad you think he's sweet and that he's not just kind of annoying. He keeps interrupting. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to use is the primer spray. The Limelight by Alcone First Base Primer. With oily skin, I really do think it makes a big difference. It preps your skin for the foundation. It really helps the foundation to adhere better. So some of you may say, I already have a primer. And most likely if you do, it's probably something very like slippery feeling, something silicone based. That won't necessarily work well with the Limelight foundation because the Limelight foundation is wax based. So the wax and the silicone don't play too well together. It's not going to help the foundation stick. It's going to make it kind of slide around. So, you can try it, but if it doesn't work, it's probably your primer, not the foundation. Okay, I'm going to move the comments again. So, primer spray. They say just to do like a little with it. I kind of like more than that. Let me see if I have something I can pull my hair back with. This is going to look really cute. There we go. Nice, right? I like more than that, and I really like to feel it on my face in this area. So I'll do like a little circle around. Okay, I got kind of a mist on the perimeter. But I'm gonna go a little short bursts in the middle of my face, and I actually will even take my fingers and I can feel the primer on top of my skin, and I kind of make sure it's spread around evenly. Okay, so that's step 1. Step 2, let's do the T-zone next. Okay, I'm going to use a buffer brush, and here I have 2 concealers and 2 foundations. Not everyone needs all quite all of this, okay? But I do kind of like to mix and match and blend things. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to take away one of these concealers. I also like my foundation in the center of my face to be a little brighter than the perimeter. It's kind of like a way to naturally contour. It's like the diamond of light, okay? Like we want kind of this area of our face to have a little more light than the rest. So I'm going to use my lighter foundation in the middle of my face, and I'm actually going to mix it with one of the concealers. I'm going to use my buffer brush, and I'm just going to bounce back and forth. So this is Gina Beige, and this is concealer number 1. Now you can see that this concealer looks kind of green, but I've got a lot of redness, kind of, especially right here and on my nose, and even here on my chin. It all is kind of all in the middle of the face, the oily areas and the red areas, the pores, and it's all in the middle of my face. So I'm actually going to mix those two colors together. But wait, I missed a step. Before I do that, I'm going to take my setting powder. Sorry, this one's kind of low. I'm going to use my buffer brush. Yes, my buffer brush into the setting powder. Woo! A little bit, chunk of it just kind of came out of the corner there. And I'm going to stipple that into my oily spots right here on my nose. And I'm kind of using it to almost like fill in the pores a little. I know this might seem totally bizarre, but yeah, it was primer spray first, then a little bit of this setting powder in the T-zone. Okay. Now we're going to go in with the foundation concealer combo. So I'm going to do a little, sorry, this is also super low. I need to replenish. I'm going to do a little bit here, a little bit here. I'm really just kind of bouncing back and forth, okay? See how I'm doing that? Like I'm just kind of taking my brush in between. And now I'm going to stipple that on in the T-zone. And you're going to see how that greenish color concealer really knocks out the red. But I find that our mixing the foundation with the concealer really helps it to hold up really, really well when I get oily. Okay, so I'm looking really closely in my mirror that is kind of just past you guys, and I'm making sure that I am going in kind of different directions. So I'm kind of going this way, back to the left, back to the right, circles, and making sure all those little pores are getting filled. You know, you don't want the effect where your face kind of looks polka dotted because you're just getting the surface of the skin, and then the pores where you have like some texture and crevices, you may have acne scars or other issues like that as well. They're not getting any attention. And so then you kind of end up with almost like a polka dotted look on your face. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing down here. Again, it's both concealer and a little foundation. I'm sorry, foundation with a little concealer mixed into it. All right, that is how I'm treating the center of my face, with a powder layer underneath and mixing the concealer with the foundation, okay? So I've gotten like that good coverage. I'm looking really, really closely here, making sure I've got around the nostrils. This is a place a lot of people miss. I'm turning my face side to side, making sure the sides of my nose have good coverage. All right. Step back and take a look. Okay, so that's good. All right, so now I'm going to go to my darker shade of foundation now. This is the Shinto one. It's just slightly darker, slightly warmer. And I'm going to use the big fluffy brush. So this is the number 1 brush. And I'm just going to sweep that around in here a little bit like this. You can see there's not a ton on the brush there. And now I'm going to do great big motions on the sides of my face. I could use the buffer brush and do my whole face with it, but I really like the buffer brush in this area. It's a small brush. It fits in nicely in all these nooks and crannies. And I also love that it fits perfectly into the concealer pan, so I can bounce back and forth really easily with it. But when I'm doing these big areas on the side of my face, I like a bigger brush. It just takes less time. And I also don't need as much coverage on the side of my face. So this is going to give me like a more sheer coverage on the sides of my face. And this brush is going to give me more full coverage in the middle of my face. And you really want this area to be nice and clean. It helps draw more attention to your eyes when you don't have any distractions underneath your eyes. Okay, so now I have all that covered. Yeah, I mean, and that's essentially it, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and do my concealer too because my circles are really distracting. That's when I'm going to go to the other color that I have, which is concealer number 2. This is a very yellowy tone, kind of a like, I don't know, yeah, it's kind of more of a yellow undertone, which is going to work really well for me when you have like purplish under eye circles or purplish color on your eyelids. Something yellow is going to cancel that out. So I'm using my Dome Blender this time. I'm not getting a ton on my brush. I'm just barely tapping it, and I'm just tapping it right on top of those dark areas. So you may think like, I'm really fair, so I need concealer 0, right? Or I'd really like to highlight that area, so I need concealer 0. But if you have really dark circles, a light concealer will not fully correct them. You have to have something of equal depth. So if you're a really pale girl, I'm actually going to switch to my buffer brush again to do my eyelid. If you're a really pale girl that has really dark purple under eye circles, you're going to need like a dark orangey yellow concealer to effectively correct them. You know, but just know it's just for where the darkness is. It's just for this area. It's not for like this whole part of your face. Then if you want to highlight, you know, then you can go into like the concealer 0 and like brighten up this area. Does that make sense? So you can see how that really helped knock out the circles. Let me turn up my light just a little bit. See how effectively that covered that purple and the eyelid? So let me just go ahead and finish cleaning that up on the other side too. As we get older, this is sort of depressing, but our bones, like, they kind of whittle away, right? So depressing. And one of the bones that whittles away are our eye sockets. So they actually get bigger as we get older. I had a medical, she owns like a med spa. She does like injections and Botox and all that kind of stuff. And we were talking about it a couple nights ago, and I was like, that's really depressing. The bones just get bigger. But that's kind of why like this gets more sunken in as you get older. That's why like you see like really old people and they're very hollowed out in here. So adding that brightness back in is important as you kind of start to exit your 30s. Okay, so now that I'm all, you know, my complexion is done, I'm going to go back into my powder now. This time I'm going to use a fluffy brush instead of the stippling brush. And I'm going to make sure I'm really patting in that powder in the T-zone to set it. Just really patting it in. And then the rest of my face, I'm just going to kind of sweep it over. And then last but not least, Oil Strike. This is still my sample bottle. It comes in a bottle like this now. But I got a little sample and I haven't gone through the whole thing yet. So this Oil Strike setting spray, it has time release oil control. So it will help control the oil production on your face all day long. So I'm going to go ahead and just spritz that on. Again, I like little bursts. I don't like press down all the way on the trigger. I press it like, you know, a third of the way down and just do little tiny blasts all over my face. And then once that dries, hopefully I didn't put a big crease in my bangs doing that. Okay. So once that dries, it's going to be locked down all day. It will look, I mean, it shouldn't budge. So if you find that you're using the Limelight foundation, it's kind of sliding around on you, you're probably using way too much. Okay. If you find you need more coverage, as opposed to just using more and more and more, like slathering it on, try cutting it with the concealer instead for a little additional coverage. Less is more with this foundation. It is really meant to give you a very natural finish, a very, just to let like your natural skin texture kind of show through a little bit. It's designed to look like skin. So if you're just layering it on super, super thick, less is more. Go to the concealer for that additional coverage that you need instead. And then aside from that, like if you feel like it's kind of breaking up around your nose, it's because of the oil. Okay, so try those steps that I gave you. I'm going to look at the comments again. Yeah, okay. So I'm completely lost when it comes to foundation. Nicole, you need to let me color match you. I know that you are all the way up in Illinois, but I can almost always nail it from a good picture and natural light. So here's the deal though. Don't take a picture in your house. I'm going to go ahead and do blush since we're still talking. Don't take a picture in your house with your yellow light bulbs. That makes everyone look like they have a yellow undertone. So your car is often a good place because you're kind of surrounded by light when you're in your car. So I don't mind the car selfies, actually. They usually can help. There's also a quiz I can send you that the quiz is pretty darn accurate too. So usually what I do is I'll send you the quiz, and then after you take the quiz, I'll look at a selfie and I'll kind of confirm like, yep, I agree with your result, or, you know, like, no, I think your quiz is off probably because you maybe think you're, a lot of times it's like you think you're paler than you are. Like it's sometimes it's something like that. Like you put that you're like the palest of the pale, but you're not that pale. I see that happen sometimes. So anyways, guys, I'm going to put on some mascara and just kind of finish my face. But I hope that was helpful. And if you, you're one of those people that is kind of struggling with the foundation, rather than just like not order it again or move on to something else, like talk to me first. That is my job as a Limelight beauty guide, is to help you troubleshoot things. And if you do need, if it's just not for you, I mean, most people love it, but I'm not going to say 100% of women in the world, like, this is the perfect product for them. I mean, there's always going to be the few people that, you know, just prefer something different. I can make recommendations for other products too. I don't mind doing that. So anyways, guys, if you have questions, just let me know and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.